Okay, welcome everyone. This is our InRhythm Thursday Lightning Talk. Take it away, Godfrey.
All right, thanks, Hannah. Yep, Hannah said, my name is Godfrey Best. I'm a senior software engineer in the web practice, and today I'll be discussing the monorepos. So saying the word monorepos, it normally conjures up many ideas for developers. If you've never worked with them before, you may be curious as to why a lot of the tech giants, such as Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Twitter, Uber, and why they all use them. So today we're going to discuss what exactly a monorepo is. We're going to see why it's been gaining popularity in the web dev space. And then we're going to weigh some of the pros and cons of using them and see if it's a good fit for your team. So the first question is, what is a monorepo? So when people hear the term monorepo, they often think of an application where all the dependencies are located in the same GitHub repo. This, however, falls into the category of a monolith and instead of a monorepo. So having all the code being in one repository is not enough to make it a monorepo. A monorepo is a single repository containing multiple distinct projects with well-defined relationships. There are generally two flavors of monorepos that can be seen out in the wild. There are library monorepos, which you can see in many open source projects today, such as React, Vue, Next, and Nuxt. And these types of repos normally provide a single location where multiple packages related to a project can be found. The second type of monorepo is for applications such as Twitter and Uber. Inside these applications, you'll normally find well-defined packages of shared libraries, reusable services next to source application code. So in contrast to the monorepo approach, we have the standard way of doing things, having one repo per project. So we'll call these polyrepos. Polyrepos promote autonomy across teams, which empowers them to use whatever tools they would like. But that does come at a cost. There's duplication of efforts in setting up projects, and there's a reduction in code shareability. Okay, so what are some of the pros of using a monorepo? So by default, a monorepo user will have access to all of the packages available in the code base. This can allow for better cross-team collaboration, as it's easier to see what the other teams are working on and what libraries can be used in their own project. Dependency and versioning management is simplified since users know when they install a package, they'll get the latest version the team is using. Monorepos also give you the ability to enforce consistency across the projects in the repo in terms of code styles, autosave functionality, and applying recommended extensions to the IDE. Another benefit is the immediate feedback you receive when a change in a library package API breaks a consumer package. The consumer package's pipeline will fail, and the library author can then quickly rectify the situation. Without the overhead of setting up a repo from scratch, new projects and experiments can quickly be created and removed. Having all the projects in one location can also make it easier to orchestrate in what order projects should be released. Okay, so now that you're excited about all the benefits of using monorepos, let's see how we could set up a basic one. So for the demo today, we'll be using NPM workspaces. This is, in my opinion, the simplest way to start a monorepo. There are no additional dependencies required, and as we'll see in a moment, through just a slight modification to your package JSON files, you can gain some of the benefits of using a monorepo. So now go switch over to VS Code. So here in my editor, we have pretty much a bare bones monorepo example built with NPM workspaces. You'll see here we have our node modules folder, a packages folder, a git ignore, a package lock, and a package JSON at the root of our project. So let me start by opening this package JSON at the root. So here you'll see pretty standard package JSON. At first, we have a name, which will be important in a little bit, we'll see. We have our version, we have the main, which is just pointing to an index.js inside the packages folder, inside a folder called front end. We have a start script that's going to run that index.js. And then where things get a little bit different is we have this additional key here called workspaces. So we see that we have an array, and it just points to two folders, and both of them are inside our packages folder. So now I'm going to jump into the packages folder and look at the backend folder. I'll start here. So inside here, I just have, again, very simple, an index.js and a package.json. So I'll start with the package.json. Okay, so inside here, we have one thing that looks a little bit different than normal. So in the name of our package, we see that we have it annotated this way. So we have an @ symbol, and then we have the name of the root, the name of the root project's package.json here. Okay, so it's not supposed to name your packages with the @ symbol, the name of the root project, and then slash, and then the package name, the folder that's in. Okay, then here we have the version, which we'll see is going to be important in a little bit as well. And then we have the main file, which is just this index.js. So let me open up the index.js. We'll see we just have a very simple one function that's being exported that's just going to console log, just print to the screen hello world from the backend. So that's all that there is to the backend folder. Now let me switch to the front end folder, and we'll see it's set up pretty similarly. Just leave them both open. So in the front end folder, we also have package.json and index.js. We jump into the front end folder's package.json. So here we'll see things are set up similarly. So with the name, the version, the main, but then the difference that we have here is that we had to define a dependency. And you can see here that it's looking at the symlinked route to our backend folders, index.js. And then we also have to give it the version. So that's why the version number in the backend package.json was important over there. Okay, so now if we come into the index.js file, you see here, all that's happening is, so we had to npm install. And so once you npm install, we then have access to this monorepo/backend. And then we can call that one function that just console logs to the screen. So now if I come down here and I run npm start, we'll see that console log from the backend is being able to be used over here. Hit enter. Okay. So we see our hello world from the backend is being called from the front end folder. So we're able to share that code from the backend to the front end. So now let's say this wasn't excited enough. We need some more excitement from the backend project here. So we added a few more exclamation points. And if I come back down here and I rerun it, we'll see that we automatically get that change inside the code that called it from the front end folder. So now if we think, how could we have done this with a polyrepo approach? The common way that you'd probably do it is, so the backend folder would not be inside the same repo as the front end folder. So we'd probably have to push up to npm. We would have to publish that folder separately. And then we would have to install and then require it here and run the function. So once you make that change, we would have to, on the backend folder, we would have to upgrade the version, publish again, and then pull it down and install again in order to be able to get that change. So as you see with the monorepo, it's pretty seamless to be able to get that change in one package and use it in another. Okay, so as we all know, I guess in life and especially in development, not everything is perfect with everything or with anything. So so there are some cons of using monorepos. So as we saw in that example, you can have symlinked projects, which can make, so we just had one project importing from another, but you can have like multiple projects importing into each other. So this can lead to and then another con is that in order to prevent your testing and build times from growing out of control as the code base grows, and it will require a more sophisticated CI setup. Another con that you could run into is that if there are many contributors making changes at the same time across different packages inside your monorepo, then if you're trying to make a change at the same time, your MR may fall behind the head of the branch very quickly, and you'd have to constantly keep trying to catch up and like rebasing and resubmitting your MRs. Okay. And then as teams need to be on the same NPM package versions, this may require certain projects to upgrade before they are ready. And that would require additional coordination between teams in order to keep all the packages in sync. Okay, so those are some of the issues with the monorepo, but there are many powerful open source monorepo tools that are available to help address some of the issues I mentioned earlier. So some of the most popular, there are NX, Bazel from Google, TurboRepo, Lerna, and Rush. Now, each one of these has its own pros and cons, but they all aim to make building the monorepos much easier. Now, many of them aim at reducing CI runtimes by intelligently finding only what parts of the code have changed and running the pipeline on that subset. So they also provide useful visualizations so you can see what packages affect each other. They also give you the ability to run tasks in the correct order or also in parallel if you need to. So for example, if you need to run like multiple dev servers while you're doing development. Okay. And some tools even provide ways for you to limit which parts of your code can be used by other projects. Okay. So in summary, monorepos are definitely not monoliths. They provide a flexible code base that promotes cross-team collaboration. They're not silver bullets either, and there are time and effort investments that will need to be made in order to overcome their downsides. With the help of those monorepo tools that I showed, they could become a good productivity boost for your team. Okay. So using monorepo, it also does not have to be an all or nothing choice. So I know some companies like Google, they just have one monorepo, but you can also have multiple monorepos spread out across different departments, or you can have a combination of monorepos and polyrepos if that fits your need. Okay, if you're interested in learning more, diving deeper into this topic, I'll definitely start with monorepo.tools. That's a great resource there. And then there's some additional links here as well if you want to dive some more into different tools or just monorepos in general. Okay, so with that, open the floor to any questions.
How long have you been working with monorepos?
Wait, sorry, broke up a little bit, Ted.
Sure. I was just asking, how long have you been working with the monorepos?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I've been working with for almost 2 years now. Yeah, using Rush at work.
What has been the biggest pitfall that you ran into?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, probably the package versions. So that requires like additional kind of coordination like across teams. Yeah, so there, yeah, I guess there isn't like a simple way to do that. So that, yeah, so we'll probably still require some like communication between different teams. Yeah, I haven't found like a really good automated way to do that. Yeah, that is, I'd say that's probably the biggest sticking point around monorepos that I've seen.
So I haven't been working with monorepos for the past 2 years. Would you go back to poly?
No, I would stick with monorepos. I feel like it definitely depends on like exactly what you're working on. So it's definitely overkill if like you're working on a smaller project. Yeah, maybe it's like a very well defined, kind of well elaborated out what you need. You can just build it all in one shot. Yeah, but I think if you like once you get to the point where maybe you need like a shared library, then that's the point where, yeah, I would start to look at using a monorepo. So if there's anything that I'm going to need to like share across different projects, yeah, I'll definitely reach for a monorepo at that point.